Good morning, everybody. It's COOLA from Rawstocks. We have another edition of the pre-market prep. It's Friday, TGIF. Yes, indeed. So, first things first, let's do a shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and Gamma Edge. Without those guys, we would not be able to present this to you every single day for free. So big shout out to those guys. Make sure you use our affiliate links in our bios, descriptions, wherever you do see this content. Go use those links for those guys. Get access to the same tools that we use to be able to make these decisions. So let's get into it. Let's talk about macros real quick. So Friday core PCE price index here, we're seeing a pop at 0.2%. This is actually seeing this increase over the last quarter here, showing us at 0.2%. Now it's in large with the median, but it is interesting to see this thing start to climb now. So will this have an impact on how the Feds look at rate cuts? Potentially. I think the highlight here that I always talk about, this is my favorite insight right here. Personal income month over month and personal spending. If this was positive here month over month, I might have a better feel for us trying to come out of a negative GDP. But this right here, where we're down below forecast and in negative territory here, this is not so good. This is good for stocks. Personal income down, that means their average pay is down. Personal spending down 0.1%, forecasted for 0.1, and down 0.1% is not good, right? So that's in line with the negative GDP, contracting economy. We need to look at this in kind of a balance here, right? So positive with the personal income and negative with the personal spending, but we're seeing an uptick in core PCE price. Likely, in my opinion, here they're going to hold rates in July. I think that's very much where we're at. Okay, let's move on. Nothing else dropping today that of significance. So we are looking at yesterday's data, right? So we talked about virtually this plan on X, released this out there, said that this was going to be a resistance below it, support above it, right? And we saw it come and bounce right off the top of our range, and this is where we entered the squeeze zone. So currently standing, we're sitting somewhere right, probably around this 6160, 6170 range. I haven't looked in a second, so we could have moved a lot with PCE. In fact, let me do that. Yeah. So right around that 6150 area, and we will see if this, or excuse me, 6150, 6160 area in this range here. And we'll see if this wants to continue pressing on or if it wants to fall back. We'll take a look at it. Let's first of all, before we do that, let's take a look right here at SPY. Let's go to SPX. Yesterday, we kind of talked about where we're at. Look at us come and touch the top of the high there at 6147. And then ultimately get sold down. Well, now we're popping through the top of that. We're going to open up today at all-time highs. Generally speaking, when we see liquidity taken, liquidity swept, or highs, pivot highs, pivot lows swept, we usually see some type of reversal, right? It's the essence of supply and demand. So will we see a continuation today, or will we see consolidation or a pullback? Let's dive into the data and let's take a look at it. Pull this up. All right, so let's look at SPX here. All right, full complex here, 6,200 supply remains to be the upside, right? It remains the target to the upside. We're seeing that grow and grow and grow and grow. It's going to become our largest area and our most likely target. So that's 618.5 ish on SPY, and on SPX we're looking at 6,200. So will this get a continuation up there today? Well, it sure as hell looks like it. Okay, we have a large wall at 6140, virtually at the previous all-time high. So that means if we sell down below it, don't be surprised to see this thing come down some. Okay, we have our transitional area at 6125, and our negative gamma target at 6105. So let's look at this on the day trading chart. Let's map this out for a plan. Let's get rid of all this. Yep. Okay. New plan today. We are looking at, where'd my tab go? Okay. 6140, 6140 to 6105. Okay, so this is going to be our options range here for the day. Now, will we, we're over the top of it already, so this is going to act as something similar as yesterday. We're in a potential squeeze zone. You can see that data presents us as a potential slide up, and it doesn't really have 6,200 today as like one of the main areas, but we definitely have a big push up towards that area where we can definitely see that type of move happen if we remain over the top of 6140. If we get below 6140 here, then I think you can watch this thing potentially slide towards the 6105. I don't know if that's going to be the case today, but if it does, I wouldn't be shocked, right? So I think we're more so in line for a push down towards this 6140 in the opener, and then we'll see if it wants to make its squeeze kind of back like yesterday, right? Confirmation back at the range. We'll see if it wants to make its squeeze up towards that 6200 level. This is going to be your squeeze target for today, 6200 over the top of this. So this would be support, change this to squeeze zone. There you go. There's your squeeze zone. And then this would be your pivot for today, pivot / resistance. I'm going to name it pivot instead of resistance. This is your pivot. That way you know that it could be virtually support or resistance, depending on what side we're at. And then we're looking for support down here towards this 6110 to 6105. This would be your support here. Make this look a little bit prettier. And this is your plan today. So squeeze zone over the top of 6140 up towards 6200 today. Does that go in line with what our expectations are virtually on VIX? Let me pull VIX real quick. I'll give you right around 1%. Right around 1%. So this puts us near, yep, 6,200. We're right on it. So 1% VIX is puts us right near that. It's probably a little bit below that, right in that range. So I'm not going to mark out 6,200, but I will tell you that it's up towards that range. If we fall below this, the transitional area is 6125. So this can act as a, we'll put this as a thin line of support here. Okay, 61.25, and this would be used as a potential area of a secondary pivot, where if we get below this, and especially if we sell strongly through that, that is where you're looking to really add into the shorts, and look, see if this thing can try to go down. This is where you start saying, all right, hey, as long as we're below 61.25, we're looking for this thing to press down in towards that 61.05 area. This is where you start measuring your RVR, right? And saying, hey, is this the better play, or do we play this one, right? And we say, here's your trim target and here's your extension target. You see what I'm saying? So you got to look at this, make your own judgment call, and look and see what you think. Based on how bullish we are, we have a huge gap between our daily 4. This is one of our favorite tools in regards to distribution. There's a huge gap here. We're all the way back. It'll probably raise quite a bit, so we'll probably be into that 6100 level. So that puts us right around where our low side is. There's confluence on that in regards to buying the dip near here until it's broken. But this is kind of the plan today. All right, let's move on to Tesla. 6200 is where, into the 6200 level, I believe, is where you should start looking to buy volatility, right? Let me just get sidetracked for a second. I don't mind getting sidetracked. We got a little bit of time. 30 minutes here. Take a look. Swept the low here, right? This is where you start looking for volatility, and saying, hey, it's getting cheaper. It's getting cheaper. Now, if we pressed in the all-time highs, we'll probably keep pushing towards that 1450 range. But realistically, I think we're probably going to get hung up here. And we're also just kind of in an elevated mode of, we should be here, but we're in an elevated mode of VIX based on just kind of world economics right now. And okay. So you VIX, whatever you want to play, it's there. It's there for the taking. We'll do some confluence on SPY real quick. Make sure I'm not tripping. Call dominated, 610. We're seeing a pretty big wall here at this 615 level. So it's a little bit higher. 615 to 610 is the range here. Let's mark this out real quick on our day trading chart. 615 to 610, 610, 615. So not quite towards that 6200 level, but this is kind of where you look at this and say, this is that ascending type of calls here. So as we get over these barriers, these start to grow and extend, and see if we get that 620, well, 618 visit, right? So you can see how the calls kind of shore up over here. That's because 6200's right here. So that's what we're seeing, that drive up into that range. So you find something like a 617 call for less than $50, $6 or $70 even, not my favorite. But if you find that in that range, that's not a bad play, based on the potential extension up to towards 618. It could go for over 400% at $70 for a 615, but you're not going to find that unless we sell back down towards that 6140 range, and get a confirmation. So, but look, what I'm saying is watch for the dip here right into this range to see if you can find something like that. And at that point, it becomes a pretty decent play where you can start to see 400, 500% gains potentially. All right, moving on. Let's go to Tesla. Yesterday, we talked about the range was large it was between 350 and 320, but I talked about a micro range, a sub range here between 330 and 320, and that's exactly what happened. It was even contained a little bit tighter than that, 330 to 325 virtually. But yeah, we stayed right in this range. We're opening up right in this range, and we're going to see if this just gets magnetized towards this 320 at open here. I do not see this, just based on what I'm seeing here, I do not see this pushing over the top of 330. I see it more magneting towards that 320 area. Let's take a look at the data real quick. Full complex here. We are call dominated 340 to 320. Look at the 320 pool here, 77,000 in regards to the negative net gex here. It's a pretty good size draw. 87,000 puts open. You can see 160,000 puts open at 300. Start to dial this in a little bit. You can see that a good chunk of those were expiring this week. This won't happen unless 320 cracks, and then we can see some type of slippery slide, but I still don't think that'll happen because we have plenty of area to go there, but it would really take something significant. For that to happen, almost like bad news, right? And break outside of our volatility lines. But 320 to 330 still remains the same. Well, the entire range has shrank now. Instead of just being my sub range that I identified, the entire range has shrank. So we are probably in just a containment for the rest of the week. The only thing I'd tell you is you get spikes of volatility outside the range here at 330 or below at 320. If we do break outside of those, watch for it to target this consolidation here, which is near that 340, 345 look. Or if we break through here, watch for these targets right here, these liquidity targets, these light blue lines here with give you all the prices right here. That's part of your, if you're not using it, it's part of your plan here at Rawstocks. You can get it activated through your trading view. And then if you, yeah, I highly doubt that we get to 300. But if we do, it would really take a substantial sell through this 312 area. More so leaning towards containment. We want to sell calls safely without any risk. Sell over 345, 340. Sell puts probably at 312 to 310. And if you want to get aggressive, 330 to 320. When you're down here, you're selling puts. When you're up here, you're selling calls. Containment is likely, and most likely target for a close is 320 today. Expansive outside of that, we're still call dominated. There are some signs of weakness, but realistically, we see more draw to the upside. I think this is more of a consolidation thing than anything. If you look into just next week, you can see that there's a pretty sizable draw towards 300, but there's a good amount of calls trying to drag this back up on a retest towards that area we're just talking about, right? So that's most likely going to happen. We're kind of stuck in some 350 calls we kind of took at that 330 level, 335 level, and try to get it down here at 320, see if we can get the scalp out. Eventually time just kind of burned us on those. So those ones are probably shit. Well, no, they are shit. But that's the way it goes sometimes. It's all about probabilities. Looking at Nvidia here, you can tell based on yesterday's data that we kind of multiple times try to press into this range and we try to hold it, and we'd fire off of this range multiple times, and we're seeing it again, holding this 155 top of the range, looking to try to squeeze out of here towards that 160 target we've been talking about. If we look at NVIDIA's data here. Sorry, cell phone. If we look at NVIDIA's data here, you can see a clear picture here that 155 and 160 remain the targets. We're kind of in between here. I mean, you have 157 and a half, 160, sure. But 160 is the most likely upside target. You're starting to see 165 grow, which we hadn't seen that yet. So that's a newer addition. But look at this, 157 and a half, 155. I mean, this is just a massive little pivot area here. This will render us as a potential key level or key zone for NVIDIA moving forward based on kind of the resistance that we have here, the time that we spent here. And you can see next week, we see a potential squeeze up and towards that 167, 170 range. So this is super bullish. We want to see this thing get a close over 160 to see a potential move up towards 170 on NVIDIA. But I do think that we are more than likely to see some type of pause, some type of hold here into that 157, 160 range. So don't bet all your chickens on this one. This range will probably hold. We won't see anything surpass that. You're talking about a $3 range on that. The entirety of the range is 157 to 145. It's garbage. Your range is probably more so like this now. Okay. So if you break outside 150, chances are it's probably going to be bought up. But I more so lean towards this holding, even if it's a scare tactic, little sell down and get a recovery back in there. I think you're long over 155 on NVIDIA, looking to target 156.71 and 157.5 before a potential move up to 160. So here's your target, here's your target, here's your target. But based on data here, this could sell fast, okay, below here because this is below expectations. It could sell fast. It could test this daily low here if we broke outside of this range, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But be warned, if we do slip our what would be considered a call wall or even a consolidation range here, I would look for this thing to potentially sell fast down in this range, but also see a fast recovery, trying to draw us back into this 155, 157 area. So new range is, I'm dialing up here because this is what's expected. Data shows all the way down to 145. That's trash. This is what's expected. You will see volatility outside this range, but expect this range to play. I do want to go over a couple things real quick before I do my outro here. Big gap on the daily 4 on SPX. Start looking at Qs. It's not as big, but it is definitely substantial. You could see, for me, this looks clear as day as distribution to the upside. You're really not interested in doing anything negative on this. I mean, today is a liquidity swipe on the S&P, and I get that, and a lot of people would like to potentially open up shorts. But the only thing I really tell you on that is that volatility is cheap. You can look at that route, but in regards to opening up hedges or anything like that, you're not really interested in that until you start seeing like the daily 4 broken here. You see the daily 4 broken, which we use on distribution. If we look at this, you can see how this lines up with distribution and stays above it, and when it does, then you start to see some volatility. But we're still remaining very much over the top of this. All the closes, you can look at all the candles, but it's all about the closes. And when you get this move to the upside, you need to follow that daily 4 until it's broken. If you're long on something. Okay, so hopefully this is helpful for you. I also wanted to do a little quick shout out to the guys and team at Rawstocks. Fantastic job over the transition and the merge and everything else. We have grown substantially and everyone's playing their part. Everyone's putting in their part, excuse me. And it's just great to see. So thank you to all of our supporters. Please do us a favor. When you see this content, make sure you share it, retweet it, like it, comment on it, engage with it so we can spread the word and grow our community. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you're interested in getting this access before the market opens, make sure you join us on our Discord at discord.gg/Rawstocks, or come and visit us on our website at rawstocksllc.com, or of course you can always click the links in the bio. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on your notifications. Until next time, we'll catch you later. Have a great weekend.